I am now live on Facebook and YouTube. Hey, family, where are you tuning in from? First of all, I don't know the last time I went live. That just goes to show you how introverted into myself I have been. I was going live so much. I was exercising my introvert muscle. And man, I used to do my podcast live, and now you talking about Mind Your Business Ministries. I have been to myself, where are you tuning in from? I am coming to you live from my office in Los Angeles. And I want to know, where are you tuning in from? What's happening in your world? I'm live on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Instagram. And so far it's working, which is a blessing within itself. Where are you tuning in from? Let me know. Shout me down. What's happening in your city? I see Rochester, New York, Tampa, Florida, Bronx, New York. I am panini pressed to get to New York. Like, don't even start with me. I am panini pressed to get to New York. Like, you have no idea. North Philly in the building, Wisconsin, Swaziland. What's up? Tuning in from Dubai. Hey, guys. So I don't know, man. I am in this like weird season of stretching and growing and uncovering, and it has been very uncomfortable, but I have figured out what it is, and I'm logging on here because I want to share it with you. So I have this bad habit. I'm not gonna call it a bad habit because I just be being obedient to God. But like, God gives me a download, I take that download and I begin to do what is necessary to manifest it. Like, I generally don't ask any questions. I don't let fear stand in my way initially, right? Like, God gives it to me, I get it done, right? And then the thing starts moving, and I'm like, wait a minute. Hold on now. Wait, now I wasn't ready. I didn't know if I can do it. And now it started. And that's probably why God has me out here like too big for my britches, starting stuff. And then it's like, I signed up, I got to be a woman of my word and follow through with it. And I've been going through this, and specifically with the Revolution Tour. The Revolution Tour, we're doing 7 cities in June, and I have been feeling like the opposite of a revolution. I've been feeling like, what is the opposite? A rev a trash lution. I just been feeling like the bottom of the barrel, just like all of the feelings. And this is why I figured it out, and I wanted to share it with you all. I really do believe that when God is allowing me to do the groundwork for the vision that he's given me, that I'm a worker bee. Like, I can do the groundwork, but when it's time to step into it, I feel fear and I feel hesitancy, because it's like, I don't mind doing the groundwork. I just don't feel adequate or feel worthy to do the actual stepping into it, right? So that's like the people who apply for the job, and then you get the job and you're like, wait a minute, I know I applied, I know I filled out the application, I know that this is what I was praying for, but now that it's time for me to be the person who is connected to this moment, I'm struggling. It's the person who said they want love in their life, and then love comes into their life and they're like, wait a minute, I didn't realize that love would be so invasive. I didn't realize that it was going to cause me to have to look at myself in a new way. I said I wanted to help people, but I didn't know that meant ministry. Like, we have this way of desiring, of praying, of believing and having faith up until it's time to actually actualize it. And so I want to share with you what God is teaching me about a revolution, because that's, at the end of the day, all a revolution is. I have my definition here, so I want to read you the definition of a revolution. A revolution is a forcible overthrow of a government or social order in favor of a new system. So when we talk about the Revolution Tour, when we talk about revolutionizing our lives, we're talking about the forcible overthrow of a government. Oh, I feel my help coming. We got to see this thing as a government. There are rules, there are laws, there is legislation connected to our fear. Fear says you can't do this. That's a law. Our inadequacy says you cannot do do it. It's not just a thought that has been embedded in our mind. It is a government of fear, a government of inadequacy, and it is laying down the law in your life. So when we start saying that we want a revolution, what we're saying is, I want to forcibly overthrow the thing that is overthrowing me from becoming the best version of myself. I've been in the government of fear too long. I've been in the government of anxiety too long. I've been in the government of depression too long. The government of grief, it's telling me I can't have joy. The government of guilt, it's telling me that I can never desire more, that I'll never be pure, that I'll never be innocent. The government of shame tells me that I don't have worth and I don't have value. So when we talk about having a revolution, we're talking about overthrowing a government that has established itself in our mind, in our heart, in our belief system. And so I am praying for this revolution tour, and I'm gearing myself up, which means I'm confronting my own government, what the government inside of me that has communicated to me that I can't do, what I can't say, who I cannot become, and am I going to allow this government to stay in power? And so I think that God has just been taking me through this process so that I can be the woman who stands in those rooms to say, this is how we overthrow it. This is what the prayer looks like. This is what the worship looks like. This is what the vulnerability looks like. This is what the therapy looks like. And this is what the revolution looks like. And I didn't know when we named it the Revolution Tour that I had a government of fear in my life. I didn't know when we named it the Revolution Tour that I had a government of rejection, a government of abandonment in my life. And God has just been like pulling out these memories and these practices and these patterns and routines that have existed in my life, not just existed, but they have become government. I want you to understand this, that as long as we think that it's just a pattern, as long as we think that it's just my thought life and something that I'm battling, then we will not take it seriously. We got to understand that this is a government. It has laws. It has punishment. You step out on faith and all of a sudden you feel insecurity and you feel unworthy. That is a punishment connected to the government of fear in your life. That isolation, that loneliness, the inability to open up and allow other people in. And the moment you do, you feel shame. That is the punishment that happens when the revolution, when the government of rejection is alive in our life. And so I want women to, and especially women, right? Because it's the Woman Evolve Tour, but I want everyone to no longer surrender to a government that is less than the kingdom of heaven, which means that God is revealing the areas in my life where I need change and transformation. Can I tell you about this definition, though? The one thing that stood out in my mind is that it says, in favor of a new system. That's the part that I believe God is really fine-tuning in my spirit right now, because it's one thing to say, I need to revolutionize my life. I'm raggedy. I need to revolutionize my life. Like, I can't keep doing the same thing over and over again. We want the revolution, but this part, in favor of a new system, is the most important part. I get chills just thinking about it, because it's exactly what God is doing to me in my own prayer life. God is showing me the favor of the new system. If you cannot see the favor of the new system, then you can desire a revolution all that you want to, but if you don't have a new system in mind, you're going to just want something that you cannot actually tap into. But when you start asking God, what is the new system? Where is the favor for the new system? That new system says I'm whole. That new system says that I'm seated I'm seated in with Jesus Christ, and I feel the love of the Father. This new system tells me that I can do what God says I can do. This new system tells me no weapon formed against me will prosper. This new system tells me that I'm forgiven. This new system tells me that I've got strength. This new system gives me permission to breathe and to dream. And I know I'm stumbling over my words, but it's because God is revealing to me the new system. Because it's one thing to say that I want a revolution. It's one thing to say I want to overthrow fear. It's another thing to say, and this is the new system that I'm going to put in its place. If we don't have a new system that we want to put in its place, then we're going to continue to have that same government with a new face, that same government with a new name, that same government with a different pattern, because at the end of the day, we did not introduce the new system. And so, family, my prayer, my hope, my desire for the Revolution Tour is that we will overthrow the government that has been overthrowing the God in you. that we will overthrow the government that has been trying to overthrow your ability to be vulnerable, your ability to be powerful, your ability to open up and to overthrow that. Them generational curses have got to be overthrown, but they're not just going to be overthrown unless we can identify what is the new system. And so God is showing me the new system. And you know, for me, that new system that God is revealing to me requires deep humility. It requires trusting joy. It requires really allowing God to be my rock, really allowing God to be my everything, to not try to perform my way into a blessing or perform my way into love. This new system is causing me to feel really vulnerable. That ache that you have in your heart when you can tell like something is changing in me, and I know it's good, but it just feels uncomfortable. That new system is uncomfortable, but I know I have to see it before I can be it. And so I've been right now. I'm on live on Instagram and on my laptop, so I can't show you the notes that are in my phone. But I've been looking at the old system, and I've been looking at the value of the old system and the growth that I was able to achieve with the old system. And I've also been acknowledging the limitations with the old system and the pain and the pressure and the performance connected with the old system. And I've been asking God to show me the new system, to show me where I need to develop, to help me break away, to help me to learn, even if it means that I'm doing it by myself, or that I feel young or dumb or just not like the person I've always known, but more like the person I want to become. And so I want you to join me on this revolution. I want you to be there in whatever city you can be there in, because I don't want to do it on my own, but I will if I have to. And I know that there's power in community, there's power in sisterhood, there's power in our testimony. And I'm going through it so that I can pull someone else through it. And I just want you to know I am so committed to not quitting in the middle of the revolution. Quitting, and this is a word for somebody, I'm going to say this, I'm going to get off. Quitting in the middle of the revolution means that I overthrew it, but I had nothing to replace it with. So now I'm back in the same cycle. I'm stuck again. But I believe that when we come together, that God's going to give us vision for the new system and strength to overthrow the old system. And we need both of those. God, I need strength and I need vision. I don't want to just be strong, because vision gives me hope. Vision gives me something to reach for. Vision gives me strength. And I'm just praying that as we gather in these rooms in these different cities, that God would just open the windows of heaven over us, and that God would reveal to us the pain and the trauma of the old system, and the breakthrough, the desire, the hunger, the mandate of the new system, the requirement of the new system. When we see the new system as a requirement, not just something that would be nice if we're able to tap into it, not just something that is available to other people but we aren't qualified for, but the requirement of the new system. Like, I gotta do this. I gotta do this. I gotta overthrow this thing, and I gotta introduce this new system. And because of that, yeah, I'm seeking out the new system. I'm asking God to show it, reveal it, and to help me to step into it, and to bring some other hungry, searching women with me. So I want you to be there. I want you to be hungry for it. I want us to be so hungry when we come into those rooms that hell doesn't just get nervous, hell backs all the way off. That we're so hungry in those rooms that heaven touches earth and it overflows into the cities and the streets and our families, in our community. I believe that the revolution has to take place in us before it can overflow into our families and community. And that's what I want to see happen. And I already know this, like, no disrespect to the fellas, but when a woman experiences a revolution, she makes sure every woman in her circle experiences a revolution too. So if we can just get a few good women, just a few good women as a part of this revolution, I believe that there's going to be great expectation. Y'all pray for me. I'm praying for you. Let's pray before we get off. Holy Spirit, we can do nothing without you. And it is so, so evident when we attempt to do it on our own. God, you are so great. And your system is so much better than our system. Your ways, your thoughts, so much better than our own. And yet, some kind of way, we end up taking the power back, thinking that it would be easier if we just manipulated the formula. It would be easier if we manipulated the outcome. And every single time we find ourselves surrendered and humbled in your presence, saying, God, what can you do with what we have left over? God, I thank you that you always have a plan, always have a strategy for our leftovers, but it's on us to do the work. So in your presence, and we know that you are omnipresent, so you're not just here with me, you're here with everyone watching as well. In your presence, we surrender. And we say, God, we trust your system over our own. We trust your strategy over our own. And God, we ask that you would just make it clear. God, I thank you that you're giving strength to someone who's been knowing for a long time that it's time for them to overthrow the government that has been overthrowing them. God, give them strength to walk away. Give them strength to stand up. Give them strength to be silent. Give them strength to speak up. God, only you know the area where we need strength the most, God. Give them strength to open up. God, I ask that as you give us that strength and we overthrow the government of silence and overthrow the government of fear, that you would also give us vision for the new system, that we would not be so burdened by the idea of being soldiers that we miss out on the opportunity to really understand what it is like to live in a system that has been favored, to live in the newness of what you can do when you transform our lives. And so, God, I thank you for a new system being introduced. I thank you that we're falling in love with that new system. That new system makes us whole. That new system makes us have joy. That new system gives us joy. That new system makes us a servant. God, I thank you that we're falling in love with that new system, that new government. The kingdom of heaven is that government. Help us to fall in love and to seek it first amongst all things and believe that everything else we need will be added unto us. God, I thank you for the 7 cities that you have begun the revolution tour in. God, begin to cultivate the hearts. May your presence start falling on seats right now. And it will be because the revolution is coming. And the woman who is assigned to that seat has a revolution that must come forth inside of her. Thank you for that woman. Thank you for this blessing and this opportunity to partner with you. May it add such increase to the kingdom that eyes haven't seen it and ears haven't heard it, that the increase will be spoken of for generations, because your name is that great and your glory is that contagious. In Jesus' name I pray. I love you all deeply. And thank you. Thank you so much for indulging me with your love and your attention. I'm going to save this live, even if the tour isn't coming to you, even if we're not able to get into your city. Hopefully what God is doing in my heart right now will bless you. And I'm going to keep sharing as I learn and as I grow. I'm going to keep sharing it with you. And I just pray that God will continue to make room and make space for more downloads and more increase. So I love you all so much. And